Hey, good morning. And it's Friday, so that means we're going to take a look at the Twitter post there on the Deadlinger website, which is very cool because, well, so a week has passed. I didn't record it on last Friday, I did the day before, so this will catch some of Friday's posts, which they put a Happy Valentine's Day, which I thought that was kind of cute. The undying love, the zombie picture. So that was their Valentine's Day post. And then carrying on to the 16th, so that was like a Sunday. So build 13 is essentially feature complete. We're now on to polish, bug fixing, and performance fixes. What I'm doing this time is I'm starting, instead of starting at the latest post and working down, I'm going to work at the oldest post and work up. I don't know why that seemed to make more sense to me, but you can see the evolution of the posts. Moving up. Then on the 16th, a little bit later, they're working on the Mega Vlog, he called it. It's going to be Mega, going to be Vloggy. So, in my mind, that kind of tells me that we're getting close to Build 13. I've been saying that for a while. It's getting close. It's getting close. But once they put their video log, it's still going to be a bit of time after the video log post, because that's mostly just kind of telling you a sneak peek of things coming up. That still doesn't mean it's going to be released anytime soon. It's just that's my hope, because they keep talking about Build 13. So as they get that anticipation for it built up, I can only assume it's going to be coming out here pretty soon. So fingers crossed. But I am curious to see the video and see what things that they're going to be demonstrating in the video log, because I know they're going to have, well, I shouldn't say I know. Just because they've been showing us stuff doesn't mean it's coming out in the release. I've learned that by following other games. You know, it's a lot of talk until you actually see it, because it might come down to a point where they say, oh, we have encountered a problem and we're not going to be able to put that into the build. But some of the things I expect to see in the video log will be the bicycle. They were showing a new character animations, which might be coming up, or we already covered. I don't remember. There's been so much information. The zombie textures that we've talked about, possibly the female adventurer. So there's been a lot of good stuff. So that's why I'm really curious to see their video log, because I want to see the things that they want to put in. It's nice to hear it firsthand from them. Then on the 19th, so just a few days ago, Build 13 is moving right along. Looks like Richard and Howard fixed around 22 bugs yesterday alone. So you gotta think, when you have like a huge developer team and lots of folks working on a project, to say we fixed 22 bugs, that's not a lot in the grand scope of a game that potentially has thousands and thousands of lines of code. But given the scale of the development team and what they're doing, 22 bugs either means, they found significant things that were wrong in those 22 things, or the reason why their development goes slow, not, don't think about the size of the team, but it could mean that the quality of the game is pretty good. There's a difference between features and problems. You might say it's not pretty, it's lacking textures on certain things, there's not a lot to do. That's all feature related stuff. Now, as far as what's actually broke, well, we've seen a few things that are pretty much game depressing, such as barricading not working properly. And there, some little nitpicky things that I've pointed out before. That doesn't mean those are the things that have gotten fixed, but the thing to consider, though, 22 bugs, for them, 22 bugs could be rather significant. Those could be very big things. But then it says 22 bugs yesterday alone. That doesn't mean that's all the bugs that they have found or fixed. It just seems like they had a day, that must have been a good day for them. Like, oh my gosh, we found 22. Other days they might find one or two. So anyway, calling out the number of bugs that somebody has fixed is not an indication to how good the game is or the quality. It just means that, hey, they're finding things. So that's very good. So then later on that day, and that's older existing bugs, not ones related to new content, which means we're really tidying up. So right there, that tells you that the new stuff coming in is probably going to bring its own set of problems, which seems to be true for any release. I mean, even big games, there's always stuff that people find wrong after it's been released, and then people are like, well, wasn't this tested? Yeah, this stuff gets tested a lot. You'd be surprised. Like, even for my own work, we'll identify an issue with some software and we'll say, hey, this is what's not working. And then it still takes months because it has to go to, for them it might be different. They're, when I say it goes to another department, that could be to, one or two other people. But, for us, it goes to a whole other department. We say, here's the bug. They then have to reach out to a vendor or somebody to, say, hey, here's the problem. They then send a fix. That fix then goes to a whole separate network system they have set up specifically for testing bugs and things. They make sure it doesn't break anything there. Then, which is on a much smaller scale, and even that takes time because they try to test it as thoroughly as possible and try to do things with it that, they think a user might try to do with it. Then we start the rollouts, and then that's even in small batches. So, we have server farms that support a lot of different network resources that people log into. So they start like, we'll do this server, we'll do this server. So it is tested. So you can see here, they're finding bugs and problems. That means they're testing, but with the new content, it always brings new problems. Because even like with us, they'll take months to roll out something, a feature bug fix, and then we'll find something else that broke. Like, oh, well, now that you've done that, this doesn't work. So it's the same thing here. But what really got me on this was I actually sent out a tweet to Jeff, and I said, hey, are you fixing the barricading? Is that going to be fixed? And he said, hope so. I was like, well, I suppose that's about as good as answer as you can get on anything. Whatever bug that you might have found, is that going to be fixed? Well, we hope so. So yeah, that's why I thought earlier quality of life would mean is not so much to focus on new content, but really trying to flesh out the old content, bug fixes and things like that, which is why I don't think they're going to introduce a whole lot of new stuff. But like I said, the hype and the buildup has been possibly, the bicycle, some new textures. They said a new zombie type. They're just replacing the Santa with something else. But maybe some new textures on some zombies. Maybe some new clothing and texturing items for survivors. Things have been hinted at. We'll see if they come our way finally. But yeah, bugs. Then Richard Keene on the 20th, which is yesterday. So he's got here bike sound effects, prep for huge multiplayer debugging and world sync. So they're working on the multiplayer stuff. I hadn't even thought of that. Just because you put the bicycle in, it's amazing sound. I was like, oh, that's a good consideration. Perhaps you might want to hear the little bell that you ring on the handlebar, bing, bing, or pedaling sounds or something. But yeah, sound, I hadn't even considered that they would need some kind of bike sound effects, rustling when you pick it up or get mounted onto it. Interesting. Of course, anything could mean just about anything when you do debugging in world sync, but that's always a good thing. I don't understand the technical parts. Oh, that's my wife. She just said, yeah, maybe we won't have upright roads. That's so true. Maybe some of that quality of life is there. I know they've said they're always working on their rule sets for their procedurally generated worlds, but that would be an interesting thing to see is if they fix the roads better. Now, with the new build, you have to erase any current game that you have saved. So, unfortunately, once the build is released, I can't go back into my saved game, possibly. They pretty much say you got to erase all that old stuff, but I wouldn't imagine them flattening out a road that was already shooting straight up into the air. But after that next world build comes out, it will be interesting to run around and see if you still see roads that shoot straight up into the air forever. So then the last tweet they did is performance tuning, world load create performance, etc. So world load create performance. I don't know if that has anything to do with the roads that shoot straight up, but here's what I see a lot of times when I'm running around, because it's got to load in the stuff as you get to it. Like, I'm pretty sure when you come in and it says that the world is procedurally generated, it doesn't draw all of that at once. A lot of times you'll be running along and you can tell that you start to get like a frame rate hit because it's starting to draw in and anticipate where you're going, so it starts to prepare that land. So I don't know, honestly, if their system generates like maybe a map or an idea entirely when you first create the world, or if it actually kind of generates as you get within certain boundaries. Um, you know, I'm not sure honestly how that works, but the tuning and performance would mean better frame rate. Well, that's what I'm thinking. So as you get and you start to load those new areas of land, perhaps we'll see some smoother performance. So, but anyway, all speculation. I always have to stamp that. It's just speculation because that doesn't say specifics. Well, to me, that's not specific. To them, that's pretty specific because they know exactly what they're talking about and they're putting little tidbits on what they're working on. But, performance tuning, again, that could be anything. Additional bugs, but it doesn't say specifically what they were tuning. And world load create performance, does that mean something within the game as you're playing or just when you first create the world? So, but if nothing else, they're working on it. So yeah, it wasn't a heavy week for the tweets, but again, just leading some thoughts towards the fact that build 13 is coming closer, and kind of what I guess when they put quality of life means they're just trying to really polish up some stuff they already have, which is fine because what they have, like I said, if they can just get the barricading fixed, then that would already add a whole new dimension to the game that they already have, because then that means a person could actually go ahead and devote time to building something and knowing that it's not going to get all screwed up 1 or 2 hours later. So we look forward to seeing that. Anyway, that's enough rambling for the day. So thank you for listening, and stay tuned. We should have a Road to the Apocalypse coming out soon too. Thanks. Bye bye.